Oh man, it's the grab bag.
When I first heard that they were making a prequel to Wonka, well, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I was like, why? Why? And then I didn't see it in theaters because I had no interest. And then it came out on HBO Max. And surprisingly, it actually wasn't that bad.
Oompla doompla oompity day. I have another thing I have to say.
No, you don't. Anyways, to get back to it, this is set some point 30, 40 years prior to the events of the first film. Although I don't know if this was trying to be a prequel to the Johnny Depp version or the Gene Wilder version. The thing is, this film did not fit exactly in because of how it was a lot weirder than the original one. And it might be because this didn't really have practical effects like how the original with Gene Wilder did. It felt very unrealistic, and a lot of the humor felt a little bit too bizarre. But even though I'm saying that, I enjoyed this movie for what it did, and the humor actually landed quite a lot. The two best characters, in my opinion, Keegan-Michael Key was... I'm trying to decide whether I thought he was the funniest character or Hugh Grant's Oompa Loompa. The two of them were hilarious in the film. Keegan-Michael Key's police chief was a corrupt police officer who was working for a cartel of chocolatiers who didn't want Wonka being this upstart to make new chocolate, and Hugh Grant's Oompa Loompa was stealing all of Wonka's chocolate because when you steal from an Oompa Loompa, you have to repay 1,000-fold. And some of the goofy shenanigans of the film really worked for me, and others, not so much.
Oompla doompla oompity day. I have another thing to say. Abort, abort! He didn't find it funny the first time.
Do you even know how hard it was to paint my bones orange and to find some green wig to tape on? Come on! I think the biggest thing that kind of threw me off for the movie was the tonal consistency, if I can't even say that word, consistency, between the original and the prequel. Because the original was set post-World War I, and it was the Great Depression, everybody was poor, the realistic set, the actual practical sets and everything. And this was set prior to World War I, and there was some of that feel, but it didn't quite feel grounded in the real world. Like, the original Willy Wonka was set in a world that felt real, but inside the factory felt magical. And this, there was no factory, and it felt magical outside, too. And that's where I'm kind of like, eh. But overall, the movie was enjoyable. The musical numbers were good. The humor actually landed quite a lot. Some of the plot lines were kind of eh. But it's honestly really not that bad of a movie. I would suggest watching it with your family if you have a family. Or if you're a die-hard musical fan. The musical numbers were good. Timothy Chalamet can sing. And yeah, the humor, like I said, Keegan-Michael Key and Hugh Grant were both absolutely hilarious.
Look, I'm trying to put my past life behind me, but if you could do me a favor and like, comment, and subscribe, it'll be a lot easier for me not to go back to working for the shredder.